Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So on this video, we're going to talk about why it's pretty hard to run an Amazon FBA business, especially as a beginner, because this business model, man, it's not all sunshines, rainbows, butterflies like all these TikTok influencers make it to be, IG influencers, all that stuff. So let's get right down to it. Go over some of the hassles, some of the struggles that you guys will face as an Amazon seller, especially if you're looking to get into this and make this a potential career, business for you long term. So without further ado, let's get started. So obviously, one of the biggest hassles as an Amazon seller that you're gonna face is being able to find the right products to sell on Amazon. Now, I mean specifically for like retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, or wholesale. Not private label, which even with private label, that's probably hard too. But those three, models in general. As a beginner, it's tough, because you're learning how to use like the Keepa software. Some people may use SellRamp. You're using all these new softwares, so you still have to learn those softwares and basically learn what to read, right? Like the charts, the Keepa graphs, like the buy box statistics, like the data, all that stuff. And so that part alone is already hard enough. And then finding actual products is even, 10 times harder because you don't know where to begin, right? Like it's just so many freaking sites, so many wholesalers, whatever. And you're just like, where the hell do I begin, man? Like, do I start with this site? Do I start on this discount? Do I start on that sale? Like, where do I even begin? Do I start in this category, better yet? Like, you don't even know what category you want to begin with, There's so many categories you can sell on Amazon. There's clothing, there's groceries, there's beauty, there's books, there's toys, home decor. I mean, so many different categories. So that part alone is probably already hard enough as an Amazon seller because just knowing where to start, it's already hard enough. And so, even if you did find a certain category, product, niche, discounts that you find, now it's time for the actual putting in the work. And that's another hassle too, right? It's just, once you do find your niche, your products, your categories or whatever, now comes the actual work. And this is the part where a lot of sellers get discouraged. A lot of them want to just basically quit this crap and be like, yo, this ain't for me, man. And I get it, because from 90% of you will be doing this with a full-time job on the side. So the fact that you want to do Amazon on the side to basically make more income or replace your 9 to 5, it's already tough enough, man. Because you get out of work, you're probably tired, you're exhausted, and then you realize you got to put in some time into the business as well, which is it could vary from an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, whatever amount of hours you want to put into it. And so that part right there, it gets discouraging because let's say you put in 2-3 hours a day after your job, you're sourcing, you're learning stuff, but you don't find anything, right? That's the part where a lot of people are just like, man, dude, this thing is, this business model is very hard. Like, I'm over here spending hours and hours of just trying to find stuff, like not even finding stuff, but literally just trying to find stuff. And that's where everybody's just like, bro, this model, man, it's crazy. But, just let me just say real quick too, it's not easy. You got to be willing to put in that time, that work. You got to be willing to go through those hassles right there, especially this part right here where you're just sourcing. You don't find nothing for days. And you got to go through that because everybody who scaled up pretty well on Amazon went through that part of the business. And the only difference between those who made it and didn't make it, it's just that the ones who made it, they stuck it out longer. They managed to go through that time period where they didn't find nothing, and then they started finding some stuff. They got through that time period where, hey, I know what I'm looking for. I know what to find. I know where to start now because I've been putting in those reps. All those reps started building up daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and so now after a while you get to a point where you're just like, okay, now I have no issues finding stuff, right? Like I know exactly what I'm looking for. And so yeah, that right there is probably one of the biggest hassles as an Amazon seller that you'll face. Is just that part alone. So don't feel discouraged. It's literally part of the process, man. Like it's normal, okay? So but that part right there, yeah, it's a huge hassle for newer beginner Amazon sellers. And I don't blame you, because it really can be discouraging, You put in that time, effort after work, you're putting all these extra hours and it's like, bro, I'm not finding crap, like I'm wasting my time doing this business model, right? Like that's exactly how it would feel. But it's just part of the process, man. Like I said, as long as you can hang in there, go through that process, and literally exceed past that part until you get to the good part, and you'll do fine. All right, you'll do perfectly fine. But that's just a huge hassle. Now let's talk about another hassle: gating. As a new Amazon seller, you're gonna be gated in probably like 90% of brands out there, right? Like major brands like Barbie, Transformers, Kraft, whatever brand you could think of that's pretty big, you're probably gonna be gated in it. And if you know what gating means, basically means that you're not allowed to sell those particular brands on Amazon yet, unless you get a proper invoice from a wholesaler or distributor. And that part is not hard. It's very easy. Most people have found ways, loopholes to basically find those sources and get ungated on certain brands. But as an Amazon seller beginner, there's going to be so many products that you're not going to be ungated in. And so my recommendation for this is either look for stuff that you are ungated in. So you can start with stuff like Walmart brands, Target brands. Generally, those you won't be gated in. But or if you have the capital, looking to get in, ungated in some of those major brands. It could vary from brand to brand how much you're gonna spend to get ungated. It could be anywhere from like 20 to $100 per brand, or even the category itself, right? Because some categories you may be gated in as well, like beauty, topicals, or groceries. So yeah, it's just so much hassle right there, and that can be discouraging, right? Because let's say you find a few good products, but you realize you're gated in it, and then you're like, man, this ain't worth it. I'm not gonna bother, because this business model is just too hard. But I'm telling you, it's very simple. And if you do find a banger product like that, then I would really suggest getting ungated in, especially if you can make your money back, right? So don't feel discouraged because you're just gated and stuff like that off the bat. Now another hassle, obviously, that Amazon sellers face is IP complaints and all that stuff. Dealing with your seller account held. Those can be tough to battle, especially if you get multiple IP complaints. But hopefully you don't. My recommendation is stay away from brands that show IP complaints. So you can use a software like IP Alert that will tell you. It'll notify you when you're on an Amazon product page and say, hey, this product is known for IP complaints. Or you can look at the Keepa charts and see how many sellers are on that listing and if there was a significant drop in it. But yeah, IP complaints can be a hassle because after too many IP complaints, you do risk your account getting suspended. So also keep everything noted, right? Keep all your records neatly filed. So if you do get one of these, you're ready to submit those invoices, receipts, whatever it is, and hopefully you get your account back, or you just manage to take off that IP complaint. But it can be very scary, because getting those things, it can ruin your business temporarily. And especially if you don't know what you're doing as a new Amazon seller, it could really freak you out. So, but let me just say, just hang in there. Don't freak out too much. Look up the proper stuff needed to basically get your account back like that. And you should be perfectly fine, all right? But I wouldn't worry too much. As long as you're doing everything you legit and whatnot, you should be fine 99% of the time. Obviously, there's always that like 0.1% that it didn't work out. So, but yeah, just be careful. Now, another hassle that I want to go over is probably one of the most important ones, and that's comparison. You want to compare yourself to other sellers, especially with social media, man. Like with social media, bro, it's like, dude, it's easy to compare yourself to other sellers, especially if you see sellers who just began like you. You see someone hit their first 10K in a month, and you get discouraged because you only made like $1,000 in sales. And let me just say, man, we all come from different backgrounds, okay? You can never let yourself be discouraged by looking at other people's revenue. And keep in mind, that's another thing too. Orange bars are just that, revenue. You don't know what's behind that revenue as far as, net profits, okay? Someone could hit their first 10K month, but maybe they sold most of their products at break even or even at a loss, right? So for all we know, they probably made no profit on that 10K. Meanwhile, if you made $1,000, you probably made an extra $200. So even like that, you're way far ahead than that other seller. But that's another thing too. Like don't compare yourself too much, man. Like we're all at different levels. We're all at different, just ways in our business. We run our business all differently. Some people, they have more capital. Like me, I only had like $1,000 to really start this business up. Meanwhile, there's other people who, they tell me they have like 10K, 20, 50K. And so obviously people like that who start this business model will probably have a much better head start than I did when I started my business model. And so you can never forget that part either, okay? And that's the thing that a lot of people don't ever mention is that, a lot of these people that start with huge capital, they never mention that part of the business is that, they had all that leverage. Meanwhile, some of us didn't. And, like I said, that's perfectly fine. I don't ever trip about someone scaling faster than me because I know they probably came from a different background than what I came from. All right. So, but if you come from less, just know you're going to have to put in like 10 times the work to make it happen. All right. But as long as you're okay with that, you should be perfectly fine. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to wrap it up. I don't want to ramble on too much because I could go on and on about all the stuff that we deal with. But I think these are just the major ones that I feel like a lot of you need to know and be more aware of. Okay. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I don't want to take too much time of, too much of your time, better yet. But I do hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I could do a part 2 of this if you guys want it. But if not, I can just drop some other stuff as well. But as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one.